Can you see Gayatri Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, please start.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां सगृजातां सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदान्ता सरस्वती नामिने। श्रीवशभानवे देवी दायितया कृपाब्दये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः। माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाद्य श्रीरूपानुगा भक्तिदा श्रीगौरा करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते। नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुगा विरुद्ध अपसिद्धान्त द्वन्द्वहारिणे। नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बारसाम्बोधे पदाम्बुजायते नमः। नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगा वरायते। गौराविर्भव भूमेस्त्वं निर्दिष्टा सज्जनप्रिया वैष्णव सर्वभौमा श्रीजगन्नाथ ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। जयतं स्वरतौ पङ्गोर् मम मन्दामतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्व पदाम्बोजौ राधा मदन मोहनौ। दिव्याद्वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदौ श्रीमद्रत्नागर सिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद् राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवौ प्रेष्ठालिभिः सेव्यमानौ स्मरामि। श्रीमन् रसरसारम्भि वंशी वटतटस्थिता कर्षन् वेणु स्वनैर्गोपीनाथ श्रियेस्तु नः। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Thank you all so much. It was so wonderful to have you all today for our first day of Kartik. and most important with Samapriya Mataji. So we are very, very happy to have you all, and I hope we have Payal here. Is Payal, are you here?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. I'm here only.
You are here. So we want to welcome you, dear, to our Lady Sangha. If you are okay to show your lotus face, we are happy to see you. If not, it's okay. We understand.
Okay,
Some of the
Mataji.
Matajis we have Pallavi Mataji, Prem Pallavi Mataji, Shri Gaurangi, and Nayan Sundari Matajis. They all would like to personally welcome you. And I want to give you a virtual hug and a
Thank you.
so I'll let Prem Pallavi Mataji go.
Hi Krishna Payal, welcome to the family. Welcome to Radhagopijana's family. Welcome to the Lady Sangha. We are so happy that finally you made it to the US despite the COVID and the chaos that's going on in the world. And if there's anything that we could do, like please reach out to any of us on any front. You know, it doesn't have to be always on the spiritual front. Sometimes it can be emotional because you just came leaving your parents. It must be hard. So if you want to reach out to any of us, anytime, day or night, even sometimes if Vaibhav is sleeping and in the middle of the night you feel emotional, just ping us or call us and we are here for you.
This
Thank you so much,
big mother
Mataji.
here. Pallavi Mataji, our big mother is here, so don't worry. Everything will be fine.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Shri Gaurangi Mataji, would you like to? You're muted. Shri Gaurangi Mataji, you're muted.
Sorry, Mataji. Sorry. I started speaking on mute. So, yes, Payal Mataji, my name is Sri Gaurangi, and I'm very, very, very happy to have you in our family. We welcome you all. Vaibhav Prabhu is just like our brother, and we are so happy that you are finally here in US. He was waiting for you for so long, and as Prem Pallavi Mataji said, you finally made it. So, it's all the mercy of the Lord. And Mataji, we are this big family, sometimes we have so many things going on in our heart. Any Mataji in this group, feel free to share anything with whomever you feel connected. Feel free to share whatever. Nothing will go out, nothing will be shared with if you don't want it to be shared. But we are there for each other as a big family, as sisters, as whatever relation you want to make. Like Prem Pallavi Mataji is already the mother, so that relation is taken. Other than that, whatever you want to take, Mataji, whatever you want to share, you just want a listening ear, you want prasadam, you want anything, Mataji, or just feel like having a good laugh on something, call us. You just want to
Thank you so
vent
much.
out on Vaibhav Prabhu, call us. Anything you want,
Oh, Krishna.
we are there. And your deities are very beautiful, Mataji. Thank you for sharing them, and the way you dress them, it shows your devotion.
Oh,
So thank you.
so much. Thank you so much. Please pray for us, Mataji. Please pray for us.
Mataji, as a service, we will definitely pray for you, but you are already blessed. So we will definitely do whatever we can. Okay, Mataji?
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Welcome again.
Nayan Sundari Mataji, would you like to welcome?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear all Matajis, and especially to Samapriya Mataji. Thank you for being with us. And Payal, dear, we already met last week, and I'm so happy that we could meet. I could meet you before everybody else could. And I'm happy that I could clarify that I'm not your mother-in-law. I'm your sister-in-law. And one important thing that I noted about Payal when we met, that every moment, whatever discussion we had, she would always say, "Oh, Jai Jagannath, Jagannath, Jagannath." She's such a big devotee of Jagannath. So I'm very happy. I'm sure that with your association, I can get that tinge of little love for Jagannath that you have. Thank you so much, and we welcome you all to this great happy Sangha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you.
Priya Madhavi Mataji, are you there? Would you like to welcome her?
Yes, Mataji, but everybody welcome, right? She's our family. I know she's my daughter. We can welcome separately because our senior disciple is waiting for us. Big hi to Payal Mataji. You know that I'm here for you.
Yes, Mataji.
Welcome you.
You are mother-in-law, Mataji, right? Priya Mataji. Yes.
Thank you. Radhika Gopika Mataji, would you like to say a word?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Payal Mataji. We are so happy to have you. Uh, Even I met Mataji, but I was on in the balcony and Mataji was down. That's how I met her. I'm hoping that we'll be able to meet soon and maybe hug each other.
Yes.
Happy to have you, Payal Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
So I hope, Payal, you are feeling much better.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. And we will hear from Her Grace Tamapriya Mataji, whom we are so, so blessed to have us with. And she is such a wonderful disciple and loving daughter of Srila Prabhupada. So many years she has been dedicatingly practicing Krishna consciousness. And the way she writes her poetic expressions in the book, The Divine Love Trip. What a name, The Divine Love Trip. That's what we all want to take on a daily basis, a divine love trip in our relationship with our dear Radha Gopijana Vallabha. So I'll let Mataji talk and enliven us today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Welcome, Payal. I can't be excluded in your welcome.
No.
And it really touched me that you're so attached to Lord Jagannath, because I lived in Jagannath Puri for 23 years. And my husband wrote a book also called Jai Jagannath. So
Jai.
we are also always waiting for the mercy. Well, we had it for 23 years, and somehow or another we're in Alachua. That always confuses us, that Lord Jagannath said, okay, now it's time to go. But anyway, thank you for inviting me to this beautiful Sangha. It's so nice to see that everyone is so loving with each other. This is a very important part of Krishna consciousness, to be supported by the devotees. So that was a very beautiful welcome. And Payal, I hope that you are feeling welcomed from that. That is really very special. So I can see that you're all very, very special devotees, have that kind of concern and love for each other with Krishna at the center. So first I'll start with a question. Himanga told me that you are interested to hear about Srila Prabhupada. So for me, the most wonderful way to hear about Srila Prabhupada and to associate with Srila Prabhupada is to read his books. And that's why he spent so much time writing them, not only for the few disciples that were there in the very beginning, but he wrote these books for the benefit of all the followers who would come after. So, for example, and I will tell a few Prabhupada stories, but I just wanted to talk a little philosophy now, because in this material world, we're actually not well. We're in a diseased condition. I just wanted to ask, has anyone ever gotten really sick before? I mean, sickness is there. If you've gotten sick, the most important thing is to heal from that sickness. So you go to a qualified doctor, and who you know is qualified. He's authorized and qualified, and you follow his direction. If he says, okay, you must fast and you will heal, or he says you must eat, then you will heal. You have to have faith. You have to first have faith in the person who you're going to seek shelter, right? In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, this very famous verse, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnana jnaninas tattvadarshana. So just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. This is the foundation of our relationship with Srila Prabhupada. He has come to this material world, to this America, to Detroit. He has come to this world to give something that we did not have. We have so much in America. We have so much opulence here. We have everything that we thought we needed, yet people were frustrated. So we need a good healer. We need a good healer, someone who will not cheat us, someone who will tell us exactly what to do to heal ourselves from misery. Because in the material world, we are in a miserable condition. We're not, I asked Himanga Gopi when I first came on, are you happy? And she said, I try to be happy. You know, the nature of the soul is that, who knows the nature of the soul? Who can say? 3 words. Anyone want to say? You probably don't.
Sat Chit Ananda.
There you go. So eternal, filled with knowledge, and always joyful. That's our natural condition. We should not be lamenting about anything. But why do we lament? We lament because we think we're these bodies. It sounds, you know, after being a devotee for 50 years, it's the first thing you hear is that you're not the body. But we can't hear that enough. We have to understand that we are not these bodies, that our condition in the material world is a diseased condition. So understanding that, we find the perfect doctor. We find that self-realized soul who can cure us from our attachment to this material world. See, Krishna consciousness, like everything else, is based on priorities. It has to be if you want to, there's a verse in the 411, same chapter, Ye Yatam Mam Prapadyante. That means that as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly, right? So if you really want Krishna, if you really want the absolute truth, if you really want to never be miserable, if that's what you really want, that's your choice. And this is the prescription. The prescription it's 2 things, just like in the garden, there are 2 or 3 things that every plant needs to grow, right? What are those things? Sunshine, good soil, and water, right? So the spirit soul needs to heal 2 very important ingredients. Okay, now someone has to tell me these 2, not you, Himanga Gopi. Whoever else wants to answer. We should all be like this. Okay, we're not. Shravanam Kirtanam. That's the thing that's going to cure our soul. That's the thing that's going to heal our disease of material identification. So we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate that we know of this. We know of the solution, but we have to also be very careful because Maya is very strong. She will get each of us exactly where she knows she's going to lure us in. And of course, we have children, we have families, we have attachments, we have so many engagements in this world. Even our service, things don't work out in our service, then we become, that's Maya also. She can enter there. And who are we doing the service for? Are we doing it for Krishna, for Prabhupada? Or are we doing it for our own self-aggrandizement, that we're feeling that we're so important. This service cannot be done without me. The heart it's a very pliable thing, and it can be attracted to everything. Do you notice that whenever somebody says your name, that's like Krishna. Whenever we say his name, he's looking. But we also, whenever someone says our name, we're very, we feel good. Someone is acknowledging us. So that can be pure and loving, but it also can be a root of our attachment to this world. Lord Chaitanya says in Shikshastika 4, I do not desire wealth, I do not desire sex, I do not desire any number of followers. All I desire is your pure devotional service, birth after birth. Now I have to admit, that is not an easy verse to say. It's not easy to say, I don't want wealth. Everyone's struggling for money. And if I only had $10,000 more, I could do everything I want. I do not desire a perfect husband and, nice home. I do not desire that. But believe me, when you are serving Krishna, he will give you exactly what you need at all times. Is everyone understanding this? This is not complicated, really. Prabhupada has given us the instruction what to do. And if we really have faith and we make this a priority in our lives, eventually you will increase your rounds, you will increase your hearing, and your day. Prabhupada said 24 hours a day. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam. How many people have deities? Everybody has their own deities. Yeah, I see two. I only see two, but I'm sure everybody has deities. And that deity is the Lord of your heart. You are offering everything. That deity is the center of your life. But you know what another deity is? The holy name is another deity. We have to develop this, and I'm not making this up, I must say. I'm not making this up. Lord Chaitanya said, Harinama, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kolona Steba, Nasteba, Nasteba, Gatir Anyata. So this is the way to become self-realized, to become always happy, to chant, to associate with the source of all happiness, and that's through chanting. So I'll just switch over now, because these are important things before I switch, because it is Kartik, and many devotees do perform an extra little vrat for their Kartik engagement. Some people will chant more, some people will read more, some people will take on an extra service at the temple or something, because it's such a potent month. Any service done during Kartik for the pleasure of the Lord, there is so much benefit. And not only the benefit, the benefit really is love for Krishna, that relationship of love, because, love is the thing that we all want. We all want. And that's why Prabhupada was so attractive. We understood that here is someone who will not cheat us. Prabhupada will not cheat. And that was this was the 60s. It was really a very tumultuous time. Of course, it's still a tumultuous time in the world right now. But Prabhupada came with this wealth of knowledge, and we were all young people looking for the truth, hearing it from so many different angles and people. And then when Prabhupada came, immediately there was trust. Anyone who glanced there's in my book, I may as well do some advertising. This is my book, The Divine Love Trip. And in this book, I talk about the glance, Prabhupada's glance. The first time I had Prabhupada's glance was in Brooklyn, New York, in the Henry Street Temple. And Prabhupada had come to do an installation ceremony for Radha Govinda. And I was just a brand new devotee. I mean, it really just kind of like, I'm just reading some books. And I think this was 1971, which probably a lot of you weren't even born yet in this body. But so Prabhupada was pouring all the wonderful substances on the body of Radha Govinda and doing the installation. And it was very hard to get into the temple room. The women were in the back. And I had a child, my newborn baby, 4 months old. And I was just so enthralled. The kirtan was so wonderful. I threw her up in the air, and I'm so glad I caught her. That was Krishna's presence. But we were young, and we had full faith in what Prabhupada was saying. So, and what he was doing. So then I walked out of the temple room, and there was some steps that a lot of the women were sitting on. And Prabhupada started to walk out with all his entourage of sannyasis. And I was standing on the steps holding my baby. And Srila Prabhupada looked at me, and you could feel that his glance looked right into my soul. And every disciple will tell you the same thing. The first time Srila Prabhupada, not only the first, he glanced at me other times, and he looked right into my soul. But I felt I was all exposed. Srila Prabhupada was, he saw everything. I was crying, and I was so emotional, and I felt like an idiot after I realized what just happened. He saw everything about me, but somehow or another, no one has ever looked at me like that. No one could ever see like that, because he is a devotee, a pure devotee. He is not in the bodily concept, and he came to teach us that very thing. He came to teach us to see the soul in everyone and to see our own soul. That's what he came to teach us. He didn't come to teach us material energy, anything about how to advance materially, who's the president, who to vote for. I can tell you, most of us, for the first 3 decades of our devotional life, didn't even know who the president was. Why? I mean, not that I'm saying you shouldn't know something about what's going on in the world outside. But when Srila Prabhupada did get a newspaper, he counted, if there was an article about Krishna, he counted how many words, how many times Krishna's name was mentioned in the article. And that was the validity of the article. So first, does everyone hear what I'm saying? Because I can't see anyone.
It's beautiful, Mataji. We are
Yes,
just
Mataji, I'm getting goosebumps just by hearing that.
Okay. So
Mataji, sorry to interrupt, Mataji. On your view, if you click, there is a gallery view. If you click, then you can see all of our faces too. If you click that and you say gallery view in
full screen,
the gallery view, the second one, then you can see.
All right, don't worry about it. Don't worry.
Okay.
This is good enough. I see you. I see if you. Yeah, I see Sri Monkey, and I see me, little one, but that's okay.
Okay.
So Prabhupada came to bring something that we did not have. He came to give us the truth. He wasn't and why didn't we know who the president was? We were so busy. We were so busy drinking up everything Prabhupada had to tell us. We had never experienced this. And we were all young, and we were just eating up everything he had to say, because it was so real. And it still is real. And I remember in the Henry Street Temple, on every landing, it was called the Brownstone Building in Brooklyn, New York, and there were staircases going up to a few floors up until you got to the roof. So on every landing, we had several signs saying read, 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 read. Because as Prabhupada was printing the books, as he was writing the books, we were reading the books, we were learning how to be devotees, and our main service was to distribute this knowledge to as many people as we could. That was part of it. Of course, we did that. At that time, there was not that much book distribution. There was Harinam. Then I moved to Los Angeles, where there was enormous book distribution. This was a little bit later, I forgot when, 1975 or something. So, and one day, one of the devotees went to Srila Prabhupada and said, what do we do with all the books? Because they were printing books, and it was a big warehouse, and they're printing a lot of books, and we didn't know what to do with the books. And Prabhupada said, you distribute the books. So I became a Sankirtan devotee. Actually, I was a Sankirtan devotee even in the beginning, somehow or another. I was so excited. I was so excited about what Krishna was giving. And of course, that was a time of my life that was very intense and tragedy and the material world. When Krishna really wants you to take shelter of him, and I'm not wishing this on everybody or anybody, he takes away all the material things that are standing in your way of surrendering and realizing the absolute truth and developing that only relationship that will actually satisfy you. There is no relationship that you will have with any other being except Srila Prabhupada, your spiritual master, who leads you to this relationship. That even though we're teeny, sometimes I wonder, we're so little. What does Krishna want with me? Even if I do dedicate my life, what is it? It's like, but he's also can put himself in the heart of someone very little too. He wants a relationship with each one of us. And I was going to read something from my book, but I'll save it for later. He wants a relationship with Sri Gaurangi just the way she is. Not that you imitate someone else. You don't imitate anyone. You chant your rounds and you read Prabhupada's books and you understand your relationship with Krishna, which is different than mine. When you're chanting by yourself, you see, as far as I'm concerned, and this has happened over the years, the holy name is, I want to spend more and more time with Krishna, and he is in his name. And as you chant and develop your relationship with the holy name, the only way you're going to do it is if you increase. 16 rounds is like a couple of hours. What about the other hours in the day? Mental platform, what to do. He doesn't like me. She doesn't like me. Did I do this wrong? You know, it's like we are all victimized by the mind, by the environment. But we have the answer. We have what Prabhupada gave us. We have the way out of the material world. He came to release us from this bondage of the material world. And he gave us the holy name. He gave us the holy name because Lord Chaitanya, in the first Shikshashtaka, glories of the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. It is a prime benediction for humanity at large. What does that mean? Every one of us, everyone, this is the prime benediction. And if I'm chanting, I'm becoming purified and my real self is coming out. And the way I address the deities and my relationship with Krishna is very unique, as is yours, as is all of ours. You know, we don't want to be like everyone else. We want to first be like us, like who we really are, just like in that garden. If a garden, the same things are needed to grow. Good soil, water, good water, and good and sunshine. And then you can have a papaya tree or gardenias or watermelon or cabbage or any subject you like. It will come out perfectly, but they're all different, just like we are. We're all different and we have a unique relationship. I'm going to read you a verse. I just gave class in the temple room the other day here in Alachua, which I never do because it's just like I get sick for days and I'd rather do this. But there is a great verse from the Krishna book. from the personified Vedas. Are you familiar with the Krishna book? People, yeah. So in the personified Vedas, and that's pretty authorized, right? Personified Vedas. There's nothing higher than that. That's the knowledge. The Supreme Lord, as he desires, is engaging all living entities in different activities, and thus they exhibit different talents and tendencies. We all have different talents and tendencies. So by chanting and hearing from the pure devotee, just like sunshine, rain, and good soil will make all the different flowers and all the different growth grow fully to their own potential, by chanting and hearing from the pure devotee, which is the foundation of our spiritual life, that will help us to grow and serve Krishna in an honest way. In an honest way. And since it's Kartik, I would suggest that everyone in the whole universe develop their relationship with the holy name, because no one can take that away from you. You are, and as devotees, excuse me, I'm going out to chant. That is like the perfect thing to do. It opens your heart. It purifies you. See, we have to become purified. Then we start to awaken. We can't awaken if we're not pure, you see? If you want pure water to come through some pipes that are all raunchy, you have to clean the pipes. So, all right, because I guess this is, we're on a time thing. So I'll just tell a story of Prabhupada, another one that, if you like. In Los Angeles, one time Srila Prabhupada was recording. He would make recordings at this place called Golden Avatar. One of the first recordings. In New York, there was one little room, and that was the tape ministry. But years later, everything moved to Los Angeles, and there was actually a little studio, and that's where the tape ministry started to flourish. So Srila Prabhupada came there, and he was going to record some bhajans. And I happened to live across the street in a place, we used to call it Agni Dam, because it was right next to a fire engine station. So we call it Agni Dam. And then Prabhupada was coming, oh my God. And the first thing I did, I said, okay, I'm going to make a fruit plate for Prabhupada and bring it across the street. I made the fruit plate, and I put it on a plastic plate, and then everyone said, you can't give that to Prabhupada, it's on a plastic plate. And I ran around, I tried to get a different plate, paper. So anyway, I got a nice plate, I offered to Prabhupada. I didn't go inside, but I gave it to the devotee who was making the nice arrangement for Prabhupada. So, and it was just a couple of blocks away from the temple. So Prabhupada, several devotees, maybe 4 or 5 devotees, were standing outside the doors of Golden Avatar Studios, all having a kirtan. And then this Prabhupada's car pulled up, and a brahmachari was driving. It was only Prabhupada in the car, and he was sitting in the back. And a brahmachari was driving the car. And as soon as he opened the door, he went and opened the door for Srila Prabhupada. Now, that curb, it was very high. It was a very high curb. And so there was like 10 inches that Prabhupada had to walk up 10 inches. And it was so he opened the door, and the brahmachari opened the door, and Prabhupada was struggling to get out. He couldn't lift himself. He was elderly. I'm 73. Prabhupada was older even at that time. It's hard to move. So the brahmachari, I was dying. I was kind of in limbo. I couldn't believe that the brahmachari was standing there in a very nonchalant way and watching Prabhupada struggle to get out of the car. I couldn't believe it. I was praying that he would hear my thoughts, that he should help Prabhupada get out of the car. But actually, I should have done it, but I didn't do it. I was very shy. Kind of like a lamb at home and a lion on the outside. That's what Prabhupada said that we should do to all the Sankirtan devotees. He said, you have to be a lion on the chase and a lamb at home. So anyway, Prabhupada pulled himself up finally. And I was just like distraught. It was hardly anybody there. Nobody helped Prabhupada come out of the car. And I was overwhelmed with guilt. I couldn't believe I was. So everybody dispersed, and except for me, I stood out there waiting for Prabhupada to come out because I had to apologize to him that I didn't help him get out of the car. And he went in, he was there for a couple of hours. Finally, he comes out with the brahmachari. And Prabhupada, I'm only like 5'2". Prabhupada came up to here. But Prabhupada was so big. He was big and effulgent, but physically he stood rather small. So I went up to Prabhupada. I said, Srila Prabhupada, please forgive me for not helping you get out of the car. When you arrived, it looked like you were having some difficulty getting out of the car, and I didn't come to your aid, and I feel so foolish. Please forgive me. So he looks at the brahmachari, and he says, what did she say? And brahmachari says, oh, it's nothing, Prabhupada. And I said, oh, yes, it's something, Srila Prabhupada. I said, it's very important. I feel like I offended you by not serving you in that way to help you get out of the car. And then he saw that. He was very upset. Again, he said, what is she saying? What is she saying? Oh, Prabhupada, ignore it. It's nothing. By now, I was on the brink of tears. I said, Srila Prabhupada, I don't even know what I said. It was so intense. And so he looks at me and says, it's all right. It's okay. That happened to me another time. And Prabhupada, it seems like he was always telling me, don't worry. I mean, because sometimes I become very nervous about things that I shouldn't worry about. But so he said, it's all right. And then he continued walking into the car. And with those words, it's just like I got my life back. So that's my stories with Prabhupada. There was another one. I'm just going to tell one more, and then we'll have to get some enthusiasm to chant because Kartik is here. Another opportunity to get out of this material world because it's just going to get worse. We want to be joyful. We always want to be joyful, right? So the only way to be joyful is if we're in our constitutional position, because guess what? The material world, the constitutional position of the material world it is not joyful. Everything is temporary. So whatever you do, it's not going to last. So is it really worth your energy? Everything is miserable. Okay, you get a few moments of happiness, but mostly things are a little depressing. People are fighting. It's all, the Kali Yuga is like rampant, and everyone's in ignorance. Everyone's in ignorance, so you can't make any headway. We have to get out of this place. So for my initiation, I was Gunagrahi Maharaj. I don't know if you know these people, but he recently left his body, and he was a very good friend of mine. And he recommended to Prabhupada that I would be a good person for him to accept and initiate. So, because I had been living in the temple in the San Diego temple for a while, and then I moved to a place called Boulder Creek in California. So anyway, we went to see Prabhupada was coming, and it was in San Francisco. So we went, and in fact, the cover of this book is a picture of this picture here. I don't know if you can see it. I don't even know where I'm putting this picture. It's very confusing. So I put it in front of that little thingy there. Anyway,
yeah, no, we can see Mataji. Perfect.
That's me with my daughter, and she was 2 years old. That's and so anyway, so I said, yes, I want to get initiated. I do. I want to get initiated. And he said, okay. And then there was 40 people getting initiated that day. And I was the last person they called. And my daughter, she wanted to come up. She wanted to get initiated too. So that didn't work. And she was only little. And I said, I should have taken, you see how you have afterthoughts? I should have brought her up there with me. But I didn't bring her up. I thought that this is something I had to do. It was my eternal soul, and she's just my daughter this life. I don't know what I was thinking. Who knew what? But anyway, I went up and I paid my full Dunderbat down, full Dunderbat on the floor. And I got up, and Prabhupada, and I had a bouquet that I made that I was going to give to Prabhupada. And then he was going to give me my beads. So I had the bouquet, and I was giving him the bouquet with my right hand and accepting the beads with my left hand. So the devotee who was standing next to Prabhupada said, don't get your beads with your left hand. You have to get them with your right hand. And I put the bouquet in my left hand to extend my right hand to get the beads. And I was giving the bouquet to Prabhupada with my left hand. And then he says, no, don't give anything to Prabhupada in your left hand. And then this went on for a little while. And then Prabhupada said to him, it's okay. And looked at me with that beautiful, it's all right, don't worry about it. So that's my rasa with my spiritual master. And it's good that I'm telling these stories because, as I said, I have a very nervous temperament. It's okay. Prabhupada is there. We're working the best that we can to serve Prabhupada, to serve Krishna. He is seeing it. He is seeing our dedication for years and years and years. He's seeing. So we have to have that much faith. Prabhupada said that, actually. I listen to Prabhupada twice a day, religiously, when I do my puja and when I'm cooking. So that's a couple of hours at least. Hearing. We have to hear Srila Prabhupada. I mean, he is the person who sacrificed everything to come and lift us out of this yuck, lift us out of the material world. There is nothing here that he was interested in. Prabhupada was not interested in what we had, what existed, what's beyond those doors, the doors of our heart, the doors of the temple, the doors of our homes. He is giving us a sacred space. He is giving us a sacred space to become self-realized, so that when we walk through the world, it's said that devotees, when they walk through the world, it's a different kind of walking. So when we walk through the world and people see us and we're chanting, they turn. I remember the first devotee I saw, Jayad Waita Maharaj. I was in New York City, I was making paper flowers and selling them off a little cart that I made. And he passed by. It was very, very long time ago, more than 50 years ago. So he's already, I love him. He's my dear godbrother. He's a very unusual looking person. And even there he was with shaved up, Sika, walking like, what? I didn't know where he came from. I didn't know. I did not know this planet even. But it wasn't Earth. It wasn't Earth. And Prabhupada didn't come to give us anything from Earth. He came to give us reality. He didn't care about the world. He said, you want to vote? Vote. Don't. It doesn't matter. That's not the mission of the pure devotee. And it's up to us. That's what I said. If you dedicate your life, if you make this your priority, then your chanting will mold your life. This is what Prabhupada said, mold your life around this. Mold your life around chanting the holy name. You mold, and that's what you naturally want to do. It does take some determination. You have to give time to your rounds. And then if you increase another 16 rounds, then you have to give more time, and maybe it takes you away from social circles where there'll be prajalpa anyway, and you won't be, maybe people won't think that you're so popular because you're always chanting. Fine, you know. We have to be brave, spiritual warriors. We have to be brave, just like there's the thing, the cookie jar. I'll read you the poem. I was going to read you a different poem, and I'll read you the other poem, but I'll just tell you, Prabhupada tells a story about the cookie jar. There's a monkey. He puts his hand in a cookie jar, and he's trying to get the cookies, and he can't get his hand out of the jar because he's got all the cookies in his hand, and he has to let go, and then he'll be able to get it out. But he doesn't want to let go of those cookies. So we all have that cookie jar, and we all have those things that are keeping us here that we think, well, it's my duty, or it's my responsibility, or it's my whatever it is. We really have to constantly hear that we have been blessed by the association of a pure devotee, the association of a pure devotee. You are in Prabhupada's association when you read his books. You are in his association. Don't think that you're not. And anyone who had any association with Srila Prabhupada previously, when he was physically in his Vapu form, if they are not taking advantage of this Vani, they are not associating with Srila Prabhupada fully. You can develop the deepest love because that he's teaching us. He's giving us that deep love. But we have to hear from him. We have to know what to do. We have to be encouraged because it's not easy sometimes. It's not easy. We have to be encouraged. Yes, keep chanting because this is temporary. No one's going to know about it. When you leave this world, you're not going to remember anything. You're not going to remember your parents, your husband, your children, your temple president, your all the stuff here that disturbs you, that you like. You're not going to remember any of this stuff. You know? That's what we're doing. That's what Prabhupada came to give us, eternity. Prabhupada came to give us eternity. So if you want eternity, you got to give up what is temporary. There's two things, sat and asat. Sat is eternity. Asat is not eternity. It's temporary. And we have our choice. When you chant Hare Krishna, you enter eternity. When you hear from the pure devotee, you enter eternity. And that's what the association, you have such a nice Sanga. All of you are beautiful. I just want to hug all of you. You're wonderful. But you want to help each other, encourage each other. Everybody should do one ganta. You know what a ganta is? A ganta is an extra 4 rounds for Kartik. That's serious. Why not? You got something better to do? Please tell me, because I've been wasting all these years. You know, this is it, girls. This is our ticket. We can do this. We can do this because we want the divine love trip. We want to be on the divine love trip, and we have the perfect captain of our ship, Srila Prabhupada, because everything he says is perfect. We can have full faith in it. You know, it might sometimes not be something we want to hear, but you know what? Another thing came up in class the other day. If you don't understand something that's going on, like, this whole thing with Bhishma Dev, we're reading about Bhishma Dev in the temple here in Alachua. So Bhishma Dev, he was in that assembly, the vicious assembly, Prabhupada calls it the vicious assembly, where Draupadi was being disrobed. How could Bhishma Dev, who was a Mahajan, how could he not say anything? This is like the bewildering thing in the whole Mahabharata. How could Bhishma Dev not say anything? And we want to understand why. And guess what? It's okay if we don't understand why. Don't plague our minds with not understanding the behavior of a Mahajan. He's a Mahajan. And we don't understand. Okay, that's understandable. Because we have very small brains and we don't see the full picture and we don't know stuff. So if we don't understand the activity of a Mahajan, it doesn't mean that his activity is faulty just because we don't understand it with our small mentality. This is an important point. I know it always has plagued me that this great Bhishma, they didn't say anything. Somebody's saying something. Anyway, what do you think about that? Any questions? Maybe? Any
Yeah, I thought this is a nice time. Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing so many beautiful points. And since you brought up about chanting, I want to let all the devotees here know that we have our morning calls where we come together and chant, the conference calls. So please come in, join in, give your Sangha so we all can chant together in the mornings. And you have any questions or you want to talk to Mataji, this is the time that you can go ahead and unmute yourself and talk.
Shigarangi, you have a question?
I do, Mataji. Thank you. I do have a question.
What is that, darling?
Okay. So now, Mataji, just when you were explaining about the glands of Srila Prabhupada, I just had this question. First of all, thank you so much. It was very nice of you to come and talk so deeply and so from the heart about Srila Prabhupada, and I was really very, very touched, Mataji, with whatever you shared and the inspiration to be yourself, and how Krishna has a special relationship with each of us individually. That point was also very amazing, Mataji. So my question was, how you talked about the glance that Srila Prabhupada gave probably to all the devotees who were under his shelter. So Mataji, I'm also a person with a nervous temperament, and probably that is one of the reasons I find it very hard to put my faith on devotees. I would say the devotees who are around me. I don't know, like how we say, right? We have to put our full faith. So we put our faith in Guru, but I have this small problem, Mataji, that I cannot completely put my faith on the devotees that I'm surrounded with. Okay. I know they are there for me, and I don't have an outside circle. So I am always with devotees only. How do I overcome this fear?
Okay. May I say? I don't
Yes.
know. I'm not muting and unmuting. I'm just, hey, Manga, you have to do that. I think it's a sign of intelligence, Shigarangi, that you, it's not easy to put your faith completely in conditioned souls. It's actually not really recommended. It's very hard to find that person who you can put your faith in. So don't condemn. That's the thing. Don't condemn if somebody disappoints you, because the modes of nature are very, very strong, my darling. They are very strong. Everybody is ruled by the modes of nature. You follow your spiritual master. You follow Srila Prabhupada. You read and hear from him. Don't condemn others, but be very cautious, because we're conditioned souls, and somebody might say something and then the next day might change, and with not being ill motivated, but because conditioned souls are always struggling, you see. So I don't think it's a negative thing at all if you're a little cautious with who you put your faith in. If you put your faith in, see, that's the thing. We have to learn not to depend so much on the external world for our happiness and confidence. And if something goes well, oh, that means I'm right. If something goes not well, then you're a mess for days. That's not where we put our faith. We put our faith. Faith is a very strong word. Faith and trust. You put your faith and trust in the worthy person, the self-realized soul, and don't be condemning if somebody that you put your faith in is a conditioned soul and disappoints you. there are some things like if you say, okay, we're going to have a meeting, you have to be there at 12 o'clock. And you want to make an agreement with everyone, you put your faith in these people, they're going to do it. Things like that. But for me, I put my faith in Srila Prabhupada, and I'm a little cautious, you know. But the thing is, you have to be cautious, but not condemning. Don't condemn someone if they're a conditioned soul. For goodness sake, here we are. We're conditioned souls, and we're struggling, you know, to be devotees. So I think it's a good quality to be a little cautious who you put your faith in, and who you put your faith in. Sometimes you put your faith in someone because they're expert yoga teacher or an expert artist or a perfect cook. You know, before you put your faith in someone, you got to see the qualification of that person. And that's why when you approach a spiritual master, you have to judge what are the qualifications of a spiritual master. Is this person worthy of my heart, of me giving my trust and heart and faith? That's like, and if you're a nervous person, you're going to give all of that, and you better be giving it to the right person, or you're going to be a mess. That's what has happened. We've seen it happen in our movement. We've seen it happen that people put their faith in the wrong person. That's why Prabhupada is a founder acharya. And whoever doesn't put their full faith in Srila Prabhupada and is acting like a spiritual master, that's a difficult problem there, right there. But so I would say it's good to be a little cautious. Don't condemn someone because they're not at the highest level and you put your faith in the wrong place. You know, you have friends, sometimes they say they're going to be there and they're never there. So you understand, you learn about people. You know, and then you have people that when someone says something, they're going to do it. You know, but as far as how you give your heart, your life, your trust, that person has to be worthy. Right? Is that all right?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, it's 6:03, and I have an engagement to with it's Rasalila. So a friend of mine that has her deities outside, and we're going to swing them from a tree. So I have to go. But it was really a delight to meet with you. So if you're interested, maybe we can do it again sometime. I don't know. You have to see.
Mataji, just sorry to ask you, is there any kind of reading group or something? I know that Sadhu Sanga online that you do. Is there something that you could share a little bit? If you
That's my husband's. We have, yeah, we do have the courses. We've been doing online courses for many years. And what I can do, Himanga, I can send you the link. I can send you all that information separate, and then you can share it with everyone. But
Sure.
I don't want to encourage. If you want to read what we went through when we were growing up in Krishna consciousness, a lot of my god sisters and god brothers have identified with this book. So if you want to get it, you're welcome to. It's at krishna.com and also on Amazon. Thank you, sweeties. You're all a bunch of sweeties. And I look forward to meeting with you sometime again.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Samapriya Mataji ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Yeah.
jai.
Hey.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Vancha kalpataru.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Chant to be happy. Oh, take that seriously about Kartik and trying to increase a little, getting absorbed.
Jai.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
She's so energetic.
Thank you, Mataji.
Right?
Dandavat pranam.
Yes,
I think she
thank
left.
you all so much. Yeah, she left, but it is amazing that you all came up, kept your cameras on. Thank you.
Look at that. She's how energetic, Mataji. She's like, while she's talking, she's,
73.
Ah,
73
That's
and
what.
like
That's
it's
what I was
nice to
thinking.
watch.
73, I won't be even able to open my mouth.
And think about that. Only she met Srila Prabhupada 2 times and she spoke little bit only. How much confident, attachment
Love
she has.
and dedication, like powerful love for the holy name. And
Holy name and
So much
the
motivated,
belief.
Mataji. So much motivation for other Matajis in group. It's Mataji लग रहा था जैसे कि अभी मतलब क्या क्या कर डालें कार्तिक बहन के ये सब चीज के लिए. Yeah.
Hindi nahi malum.
True, Mataji, she's just
all because of
she was
spiritual power, Mataji.
she was enthusiastic and she poured that enthusiasm on us. And Mataji is saying that that she was feeling what all she can do right now.
Yeah, and क्या माताजी उनका यही था कि क्या क्या कर सकते हो करो शुरू करो.
Yeah, do it now. Whatever you can do it now.
Karo.
Yes, Mataji, you are right.
Payal Mataji, I will welcome you.
Payal Mataji, camera kholo.